Captain Ray floated in the endless dark of space, his suit lights shining faintly on the broken satellite. He had been outside for almost an hour, fixing a damaged panel. The Earth was far below, a blue and white jewel, silent and calm to Ray. The silence of space was always strange. It felt like the universe was holding its breath. Then it happened. A sound broke the silence. At first, Ray thought it was just static in his helmet, but then he heard it again, a weak whisper, carried on the radio waves, "One night, please." Ray froze, his hands gripping the panel. He looked around, but all he could see were stars and shadows. No other ship, no human voice, nothing. His heart began to race. The whisper was soft, almost broken. He waited, holding his breath. Then, the voice came again, "One night." After 10 years in the dark, Ray felt his stomach tighten. He was alone. There was no one else on this frequency. NASA had not reported any nearby ships, so who or what was calling to him? "Mission Control," Ray whispered, trying to keep calm. "I think I'm picking up something on the comms." But his radio only answered with silence. The connection was clear a moment ago, but now it was gone. As if someone or something wanted him to hear only that strange voice. Ray checked his instruments. The signal was faint but real. It came from a point not far away, drifting in orbit. A large object, almost dead and invisible. Hidden in the darkness, a ghost ship. He hesitated. Every part of his training told him to ignore it, report back, wait for orders. But something about the voice held him. It was not angry, not hostile. It was full of pain, full of loneliness, and it was begging. "One night, please." Ray swallowed hard, his breath fogging his visor. He had heard distress calls before, but never one like this, a voice not human, a voice that sounded like it had been waiting forever. 10 years, the voice had said, 10 years in the dark, against his better judgment. Ray pushed away from the satellite. His thrusters hissed softly as he moved toward the signal. The object grew larger in his visor. It was not a human craft. Its shape was twisted, sharp and alien, like a massive shell cracked open in space. No lights, no movement, just silence. Ray's heartbeat echoed in his ears. He knew he was crossing a line. This was first contact, or something even stranger, and he was alone. No one at Mission Control could hear him. No one could warn him. No one could save him if it was a trap. But the voice was still there, whispering, broken. One night. One night under the stars. Ray's gloved hand touched the surface of the alien ship. It was cold, frozen, dead. The metal looked scorched, burned by weapons he could not name. He found a gap, a torn section in the hull. He squeezed inside. Darkness swallowed him. Inside it was worse. The air was heavy, the walls scarred. Every corner looked abandoned. Ray's helmet light cut across strange symbols on the walls. He could not read them, but they felt old, like a language carved. In despair, the whisper grew stronger now. No longer just static, it was close, very close. Ray followed the sound down a long corridor. Each step echoed. His light trembled across broken doors and shattered glass. Then, at the far end, he saw it. A shape in the shadows. At first, he thought it was only a machine, but then it moved slowly, painfully. 2 glowing eyes lifted from the dark, and the whisper became a voice. "You came after 10 years. You came." Ray stopped breathing for a moment. The figure was chained, held to the wall by thick metal cuffs. Its body was thin, starved, skin pale, and cracked like stone. But its eyes were alive. They glowed with a strange light, not evil, not kind, but desperate. A prisoner in the dark, waiting. Ray's hands shook. He had dreamed of first contact. Every astronaut did, but not like this. Not with a creature begging for one night of freedom. Not with something that looked both powerful and broken. The alien leaned forward, its chains rattling. "Human. Help me. One night is all I ask." Its voice cracked, like it had spoken the same words for years. Ray felt torn apart inside. He should leave, report, escape. But his heart told him he was standing at the edge of something bigger than himself, something Earth had never faced before. And as the alien lowered its head in exhaustion, whispering again, Ray realized he had a choice: to walk away and keep the world safe in its ignorance, or to stay and listen. To give the alien the one thing it begged for. One night, Ray stood frozen at the sight of the chained alien. The glow of its eyes reflected against the cracked metal walls. The silence of the ship pressed against his helmet, heavy and endless. He wanted to speak, but his voice caught in his throat. The alien did not move, it only watched him. Like a starving man watches a door to freedom, its chest rose slowly, weak breaths rattling through its thin frame. The chains around its arms and legs were not human. They were sharp, almost alive, tightening whenever the alien tried to move. Ray stepped closer, his helmet light falling on the marks on the floor. There were deep scratches in the metal, long lines where the alien had tried to drag itself, tried to escape, but failed. 10 years, Ray thought. 10 years of scratching in the dark. Who did this to you? Ray whispered, though he knew the alien might not understand. The creature's lips moved slowly, forming words that sounded broken but clear. My own kind feared me, so they locked me away. Its voice was dry but filled with sorrow. Ray felt a chill, not because of the alien's words, but because he understood the feeling behind them: betrayal, loneliness, despair. The corridor creaked. Around them, dust fell like snow. Ray's suit sensors showed no life signs except this single alien. The ship was a graveyard. Every room he passed had been empty, broken. But here, in the deepest part, something had been kept alive, not to save, but to suffer. Ray looked at the chains again. They pulsed faintly, as if they had their own heartbeat, alien technology far beyond him. Every instinct told him to stay away, to leave the prisoner and run back to his shuttle. But the alien spoke again, voice trembling. Please, one night of stars, before they come. Ray stiffened. Who's coming? He asked. The aliens. Eyes flickered with fear. They always return to check the cage. But if you free me, they will come for you too. It coughed, a dry, painful sound. But better to die under the stars than rot in silence. The words sank into Ray's chest like a knife. He could hear the desperation. This was no trick, no clever trap. It was a plea, a final cry from a soul too long forgotten. Ray's mind raced. What if this creature was dangerous? What if its people were right to chain it? But another thought pushed forward. What kind of people would chain their own for 10 years in the dark? The alien shifted slightly, the chains rattling like bones. Its eyes burned brighter, staring at Ray. You hesitate, it whispered. You fear me, but I fear myself more. I fear what I could become if I stay here. The ship groaned suddenly. The walls shivered as if something pressed against them. Ray turned sharply, scanning the shadows. No movement, no sound yet. The alien's voice grew sharper. They are near. Their machines watch even now. Ray's visor blinked with a warning for a brief second. His sensors picked up a faint energy signature outside. Something was moving, circling. The alien smiled faintly, a bitter smile. You see, I am not lying. They guard me even in death. Ray's chest tightened. Every second he stayed, the risk grew. Yet every second he left, the alien remained trapped. This was no ordinary discovery. This was history. This was destiny. And it was staring at him with glowing eyes full of pain. The alien lowered its head again, voice soft as dust. If you leave me, I will remain forgotten. But if you free me, even for one night, I will die as more than a prisoner. I will die. Under the stars, Ray's hands shook as he raised his torchlight. The chains gleamed, pulsing faintly. How could he break them? Could human tools cut alien metal? His heart pounded. Behind him, the ship creaked again. The feeling of being watched grew stronger. Something out there was waiting, and time was slipping away. The alien looked up one last time, its eyes softer, now glowing like dying embers. "You are the first human I have seen, the first voice I have heard in 10 years. Do not let me fade into the dark again, please." One night, Ray's throat tightened. The whisper from before echoed in his mind. The begging voice carried through the stars. One night, one night. The weight of choice pressed down on him like the gravity he had left behind on Earth. He realized then that he was standing not only inside an alien prison, but at the center of a story that could change everything. Humanity, the stars, the future, all of it rested on one decision. And in that silence, with the aliens desperate, eyes fixed on him, Ray knew he could no longer walk away. Ray stood before the chained alien, his torchlight trembling across the broken walls. The ship moaned again, like an old beast in its last breath. He felt the cold of space pressing in from every side. Yet the only thing that mattered was the figure in front of him. The alien raised its head slowly, its glowing eyes steady now. It studied Ray, as if measuring his heart, not his strength. When it finally spoke, the words came heavy, like stones dropping into water. "I do not ask for forever, human. I do not ask for war or power. I ask only for one night," Ray swallowed. "One night of what?" he asked, his voice shaking through the cum. The alien's chains rattled softly as it leaned forward. "One night under the stars. One night of freedom. One night where I am not a shadow locked away." The words struck Ray deeper than he expected. This was no monster demanding release. It was a prisoner begging for a taste of something he had lost. Ray looked at the chains again. They were not simple restraints. They were alive, glowing faintly. As if they fed on the alien's weakness, Ray stepped closer. "You've been here for 10 years, why? What crime did you commit?" The alien let out a dry sound, half laugh, half cough. "My crime was faith. I believed your kind had a place among the stars. I believed in humans. I believed in you." Ray froze. The words echoed in the hollow chamber like a challenge. "You believed in us?" The alien nodded slowly. "My people saw your world. They saw fire in the minds of humans. They saw danger. They said you were not ready. I disagreed. I said one day you would rise. I said one day you would walk among the stars with honor. For that, they called me traitor, and so they chained me here." Ray felt his stomach twist. This creature had been punished not for violence, but for hope. Punished because it saw something good in humanity. And for that belief, it had suffered 10 years of silence. The alien's voice grew softer, almost breaking. "Every year I whispered into the void. Every year I prayed someone would hear. But no one came, not until you, human, not until tonight." It lifted its hand slightly, the chain sparking with faint light. "Now, after 10 years, I ask you, give me one night. Let me see the stars without these chains." Ray's breath fogged the inside of his visor. The words were simple, yet heavy. One night. It sounded so little, so harmless. But he knew nothing about this being. What if freeing it meant unleashing something dangerous? He asked the question, "How do I know I can trust you?" The alien's eyes dimmed for a moment, then glowed again, steady and calm. "If I wished for death, I would not beg. If I wished for conquest, I would not wait 10 years. I ask because I cannot take. I beg because I cannot fight. That is my truth." Ray's chest tightened. It was not the words alone. It was the way the alien said them. No arrogance, no threat, only sorrow. And something deeper, respect. The alien was not kneeling before a human out of weakness. It was kneeling because it still believed, even after 10 years of chains. It still believed in humans. Suddenly, the walls shuddered. The ship groaned louder. Ray's sensors flared movement outside. Something was drawing closer. The alien's head turned sharply. Its voice filled with urgency. "They are near. The jailers, the hunters. They will not let you leave, not with me." Ray spun toward the entrance. The faint energy signatures were growing stronger. The alien's chains pulsed as if responding, tightening, draining more of its strength. Its body arched in pain, but still it spoke. "You see, human, Even now they keep me bound. They fear me, but not for what I could do. They fear what I could reveal. They fear that I chose you." Ray's mind raced. If he left now, he could escape before the hunters arrived. But if he stayed, if he freed the alien, he would be pulled into a fight he did not understand. Still, as he looked into those glowing eyes, he felt the weight of history pressing down. This was more than a rescue. This was a choice between silence and truth. Between chains and freedom, the alien whispered again, softer now, almost breaking. "One night. Let me walk among the stars. Let me breathe before they end me. I do not want revenge. I do not want war. I want only one night." Ray felt his hand reach for his tool belt. The decision was no longer in his head. It was in his heart. He knew the risk, but he also knew the greater danger was walking away. He took a slow breath, his visor fogging again. Then he whispered, "One night, I'll give you one night." The alien's eyes brightened, a faint smile crossing its cracked face. It lowered its head in gratitude. "Then you are more than I hoped, human. You are the reason I endured." Behind them, the walls shook again. The hunters were almost here. The alien's plea had been answered, but the night was only beginning. Asterisk. The chains around the alien pulsed brighter, glowing like fire veins in the dark. Ray's hands trembled as he tried to cut through them, his tools sparking uselessly against the strange metal. Each strike felt weak, like he was fighting against something alive. The alien groaned softly, but its eyes stayed fixed on Ray, steady, full of trust. Outside, the ship shook again. Ray's visor flashed red warnings, sensors screaming with incoming signals. Dozens of small crafts circling like vultures in the void. The hunters, whoever they were, had found their prize. Ray's heartbeat thundered in his ears. This was no longer a secret, no longer just him and the prisoner. He was caught in the middle of something much bigger. And for the first time, he doubted everything. What if this is a trap? He muttered, his voice breaking through the silence. What if you're using me? What if freeing you means the end of everything? His words echoed against the broken walls. Sharp and trembling, the alien lifted its chained hands slightly, the cuffs burning its cracked skin. "If I wanted you dead, human, I would not beg. I would not wait. I would not waste 10 years in the dark. My truth is sorrow, not conquest." Ray's throat tightened. He wanted to believe, but fear gnawed at him. He thought of Earth, of home, of the people who trusted him to return. What if freeing this alien doomed them all? But before he could speak again, the corridor shook violently. A deep metallic roar filled the ship. The hunters had latched onto the hull. The sound of claws and drills scraping against metal pierced the silence. They were boarding. Ray spun toward the entrance. His helmet light cut across the shadows. The alien's voice sharpened with urgency. "They come for me. They come for you. If you do not choose now, there will be no choice left." The chains pulsed harder, draining the alien's strength. It fell to its knees, gasping. The glow in its eyes dimmed as the cuffs tightened like snakes. Ray dropped to one knee, gripping the alien's arm. "Stay with me, don't fade." Suddenly the walls ripped apart. A section of the corridor exploded inward, metal shards spinning like knives. Ray shielded his visor as smoke and sparks filled the air. From the opening, shadows poured in, figures tall and thin, their armor sharp like blades, hunters. Their helmets glowed with red light, their weapons aimed. Ray's breath caught. They moved like predators, silent, efficient. One raised its arm, pointing straight at him. The alien snarled, chains rattling like thunder. It tried to rise, but the cuffs burned brighter, forcing it down. The lead hunter's voice rang out, cold and mechanical. "Step away from the prisoner. Human, this does not concern your kind." Ray froze for a second. He thought about obeying, about stepping back, letting them drag the alien deeper into the dark. But the words of the prisoner echoed in his head. "I believed in humans." Ray's jaw tightened. "No," he whispered. The hunters tilted their heads, almost curious. Ray lifted his tool, a weak weapon against their machines. But his stance was firm. I don't step away. The hunters moved closer, weapons glowing. Ray's heart pounded like a drum. He knew he could not fight them all. But he also knew this moment mattered. If he stepped back now, the alien would be lost forever. The alien's voice rose, weak but fierce. Human. Listen, the chains are alive. They drink my strength. They fear your fire. Use your fire. Ray looked at the sparks from his cutter. His hands shook, but he pressed it against the chains once more. This time, he forced every ounce of power into the beam. The metal screamed, glowing white hot. The cuffs cracked slightly, a faint line splitting across the surface. The alien gasped, its eyes blazing brighter. The hunters hissed in unison, weapons lifting higher. The corridor shook with tension. One wrong move, and death would come. Ray shouted over the roar of his tool. If you want me gone, you'll have to shoot through both of us. The hunters hesitated, their red eyes flickering. The alien's voice cut through the chaos, fierce and unbroken. This is why I chose humans. This is why I waited. Suddenly, the chains snapped. A burst of light exploded from the cuffs. The alien collapsed forward, breathing heavily, but its eyes glowed with fire. Brighter than before, the hunters stepped back, their weapons shaking. They had not expected this. Ray caught the alien pulling it upright. The alien's voice was low but filled with power. One night starts now. The ship trembled as the hunters regrouped. The fight was only beginning, but in that moment, Ray understood something. Suspicion still lived in his heart. Fear still burned in his veins. Yet standing there, side by side with the freed prisoner, he realized he had already chosen, and there was no turning back. The chains shattered into sparks, and for the first time in 10 years, the alien breathed freely. Its chest rose sharply, like air itself had returned to its lungs. Ray held him steady, but there was no time for relief. The hunters were already moving, their red eyes burning like fire in the smoke. The corridor filled with metallic footsteps, weapons powered up with a deep hum. Ray dragged the alien toward the broken wall where his shuttle beacon blinked faintly in the distance. But the hunters stepped into their path, tall shadows blocking every exit. The alien's voice rasped, weak but fierce. Do not stop, human. Take me to the stars, no matter what. Ray tightened his grip. We're not dying in this cage. One hunter lunged forward. Blade arm flashing, Ray ducked, sparks flying as metal sliced across the wall. The alien raised its hand weakly, and for the first time, power flared. From its skin, a shockwave of blue light burst outward, throwing the hunters back. The chains had weakened him, but even half broken, his strength was terrifying. Ray pulled him down a narrow passage. The ship shook with every blast from the hunters. Weapons, corridors lit up with red beams, slicing through walls. The entire prison seemed to come alive in chaos. Dust rained down, shadows twisted, and alarms screamed in alien tones. Ray's mind raced. Every step felt like running through a nightmare maze. But his eyes stayed locked on the faint signal of his shuttle. It was close, just beyond the outer hull. If they could reach it, maybe, just maybe, they had a chance. The alien staggered, almost falling. Ray caught him. You okay? He asked, though the answer was obvious. The alien's voice trembled but firm. I will stand until the stars see me again. Oh. They burst into a chamber filled with shattered glass pods. Dozens of them, cracked and empty. Ray's stomach twisted. Were these other prisoners, or failed experiments? The alien's gaze dropped, his voice dark. They were like me, believers, dreamers. All gone now, only I remain. Ray clenched his jaw, pushing the thought aside. They could mourn later, if later still existed. Behind them, hunters poured. In their steps echoing like drums of war. The alien lifted his hand again, sending another wave of light. But it was weaker this time, barely enough to slow them. His strength was burning out. Keep moving, Ray shouted. He spotted a ladder leading upward, toward the outer airlock. They scrambled up, metal shaking beneath them. The hunters fired. From below, beams slicing past Ray's boots. One shot burned across his shoulder, his suit alarm screaming, but he didn't stop. At the top, the airlock doors were sealed. Ray slammed his tool against the panel, sparks flying. The system was alien, locked by codes he didn't understand. His breath quickened. Come on, open." The alien stepped forward, pressing his glowing hand to the panel. Symbols flared across the screen, and the door groaned open. Beyond it, Ray saw the stars, endless and cold, and just to the right his shuttle, drifting like salvation, but the hunters were already climbing the ladder behind them. Their blades scraped metal, their voices hissed in unison. "Do not let him leave." Ray pulled the alien through the airlock. The vacuum of space hit them, silence replacing the chaos. They drifted out, their suits and the alien strange aura keeping them alive. Ray fired his thrusters, pulling both of them toward the shuttle. The stars stretched wide, brighter than ever. The alien's eyes filled with light. For a moment, his face softened, almost peaceful. One night. After 10 years. The stars. They are real again. But the peace shattered as enemy ships surged from the shadows. Dozens of hunter crafts surrounding them like wolves in the dark. Ray's shuttle was still meters away, but the hunters fired. Red beams streaked past one. Exploding against the hull, Ray twisted his thrusters. Dodging, the alien lifted his arms, a shield of blue light forming weakly around them. But cracks spread quickly, the power fading. Almost there. Ray shouted. His thrusters burned hot. The shuttle loomed closer, its hatch blinking green. He slammed his boots onto the hull, pulling the alien with him. The hatch hissed open, and they tumbled inside. Ray hit the controls, sealing the door just as red beams pounded against the shuttle. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring. The alien slumped into the co-pilot's seat, his chest heaving. Ray's hands flew across the controls, powering engines. The shuttle roared to life, breaking away from the prison ship. Behind them, the hunters gave chase, dozens of red eyes in the void. Ray pushed the throttle, stars streaking past the window. The alien pressed a weak hand to the glass, whispering, "One night begins, but they will never stop." Ray glanced at him. "They'll have to catch us first." The shuttle dove into the dark, pursued by fire and shadows. The escape was not victory. It was only the beginning of a greater war. Asterisk. The shuttle tore through the dark, engines burning. Behind, red streaks from hunter ships cut across the stars. Ray kept his hands tight on the controls, sweat running down his forehead inside the helmet. The ship rattled, alarms flashing. But it still held together. Beside him, the alien sat weak but awake. Its glowing eyes stared out the window at the endless stars. For a moment, Ray thought he saw peace on that face. But then the alien's voice came, low and heavy. "They will never stop, not while I live. Not while you carry me." Ray glanced at him, jaw tight. "Then tell me why. Tell me the truth. What are they so afraid of?" The alien turned slowly, his eyes glowing like faint fire. "They fear the secret, human. They fear you learning what they already know." Ray's chest tightened. He had expected lies, maybe tricks, but the alien's tone carried something else. Sorrow, regret, a heavy weight. "What secret?" Ray demanded. The alien looked down at his cracked hands, then he raised his head, voice breaking through the hum of engines. "Humans were never meant to find the stars." The words struck Ray like a blade. "What do you mean?" "We worked, we built, we reached orbit, we fought gravity. That was us." The alien shook his head slowly. "No, you were guided, you were shaped. We watched your kind for centuries, hidden, unseen. We touched your history when you did not know. We bent your path so you would not rise too soon." Ray's heart pounded. He wanted to call it madness, a lie, but a deep part of him knew there was truth in the alien's voice. "Why? Why hold us back?" The alien's eyes glowed brighter. "Because they fear you. They fear what humans can become. Your minds, your fire, your will to fight even in hopeless dark. It terrifies them." Ray's throat tightened. He thought of Earth, of billions of lives who never knew they were being watched. You're saying all this time we weren't alone? The alien nodded, slow and heavy. You were never alone. You were caged in silence, hidden from the wider stars. So your fire would not spread. Ray leaned back, breath shaking. Anger boiled in his chest. You said you believed in us. Why? The alien's voice softened. Because I saw more than fear. I saw love in humans. I saw courage. I saw a hunger for something greater. You were flawed. But you were alive in a way my people were not. They feared your chaos. I embraced it. The shuttle shook again, hunters closing in. Ray's fists tightened on the controls. So they chained you. Because you chose us. The alien nodded, a bitter smile on its cracked lips. Yes, to love humanity is a crime in their eyes. To believe in you is betrayal. Silence filled the shuttle, broken only by the engine's roar. Ray's mind spun. With every word, Earth was not just innocent. It was hidden, manipulated, caged. The universe was not waiting for humanity to rise. It was waiting for them to stay silent. The alien coughed, voice weakening. They will hunt me until I die. They will hunt you now too. For freeing means revealing the truth. You are no longer hidden. The stars see you. Ray's chest burned. He had dreamed of first contact his whole life. He never thought it would come with chains and lies. He never thought freedom for one alien would place all of Earth in danger. Alien leaned against the co-pilot's seat, glowing eyes soft. You gave me one night, human, and in return, I give you the truth. Guard it well, for it may destroy you or it may set you free. Ray looked out at the stars, endless and cold. For the first time they felt different. Not just distant lights, but eyes watching. The hunters' red trails grew brighter behind them. There was no going back to silence. Earth's secret was broken. Ray whispered under his breath. If they wanted us to stay small, they're too late. We're already out here. The alien's faint smile grew wider. That is why I believed in you. The shuttle shook violently. As another blast hit the hull, alarms screamed. Sparks burst across the controls. Ray pulled the throttle, pushing the engines to their limit. The alien's voice grew soft again. Fading, they will not stop, they cannot stop, but tonight. Tonight you are no longer alone. The stars stretched ahead, hunters closing behind. And in the silence of the shuttle, the weight of truth pressed down like the pull of 1,000 worlds. The shuttle burned across the stars, leaving the ruined prison ship behind. Ray's hands shook on the controls, the alarms flashing red across the screen. Behind them, hunter ships still followed, their weapons glowing like angry suns. But in the co-pilot's seat, the alien was quiet, his glowing eyes fixed on the endless sky. For a moment, despite the chaos, there was silence, the kind of silence only space could give, deep, eternal, unbroken. The alien leaned forward, pressing a weak hand against the glass, his voice cracked but filled with wonder. One night, after 10 years, I see the stars again. Ray glanced at him, his chest heavy. The alien looked fragile, broken from years of chains. Yet there was a light in his eyes that no prison could destroy. A light that came from hope, from belief, from freedom. You wanted one night. Ray whispered. The alien nodded slowly. And you gave it, human. More than my kind ever did. More than my people ever dared. The shuttle rocked violently as another blast struck the hull. Ray gritted his teeth, pulling the ship into a sharp dive. The stars streaked across the window as the engine screamed. But the alien did not flinch. He only watched the sky, as if every star was worth the chase. They will never stop, will they? Ray muttered. The alien shook his head. No, but it does not matter. For this night, I am free. For this night, I am more than chains. Ray's chest tightened. There was something haunting about the way he spoke, as if he already knew this. Freedom would not last, as if he had accepted his fate. The hunters closed in, their ships forming a wall of fire ahead. Ray's fingers hovered over the controls. They could not outrun them, not forever. He glanced at the alien. Tell me what to do. Tell me how we survive. The alien's eyes glowed brighter. You do not survive by running, human. You survive by showing them who you are. Show them the fire they fear. Ray's heart pounded. What fire? I'm just one man in a broken shuttle. The alien smiled faintly. And yet you freed me. And yet you faced them. And yet you gave me one night. That is the fire. The hunters fired again. Beams slicing across the hull, Ray pushed the shuttle into a desperate roll. Alarms screaming louder. The alien pressed both hands against the console, his body shaking. Blue light spread from his palms into the ship. The controls lit up with strange symbols. The engines roared with a new strength. Ray felt the ship surge forward like lightning. The alien's voice echoed softly. For one night I will give you my power. For one night you will carry both. Our hopes. Ray tightened his grip. Then let's make it count. The shuttle shot forward, breaking through the hunters' formation. Blinding light exploded behind them as the alien's energy surged. For a moment, the hunters faltered. Ray dove the ship into open space, leaving trails of fire in their wake. The alien slumped back in his seat, drained. His voice was faint now, barely a whisper. My time is short. They will come again, stronger, but promise me, human. Promise me you will not let your world stay in the dark. Ray's throat tightened. I promise, he said firmly. The alien's glowing eyes softened. Then I can rest. For one night I was free. For one night I was not forgotten. The stars stretched endlessly before them. Ray looked at the alien, fragile but smiling. He realized this was not just one night for the prisoner. It was one night for humanity too. The night their silence ended. The night the stars noticed Earth. Suddenly, the radar screamed again. More. Hunter ships blinked into view, dozens, maybe hundreds. The alien's faint smile did not fade. They come as I told you. They cannot allow truth to live. Ray's hands tightened on the controls. Then they'll have to fight for it. The alien closed his eyes, whispering one last time. One night, human. That is all I asked. One night to see the stars. One night to believe again. The shuttle dove into the darkness, enemy ships swarming behind. The fire of pursuit lit the sky, but inside the fragile craft, two beings, one human, one alien, shared a single promise. That one night would not be the end, it would be the beginning.